The particle beam seared a scorching hole clean through the Kobali throne room's iridium pillar, vaporizing the hardened metal in a blinding flash. Prince Naso staggered back, shielding his eyes, as the human weapon's raw power shook the palace's ancient foundations. "I trust I've made my point." Ambassador Dennis Murray holstered his sidearm, the barrel still smoking. His words rang with finality in the stunned silence. "That was merely a scientific demonstration. Imagine that same technology scaled up to our ships, our orbital platforms. If you force our hand, we can and will unleash hell." The Kobali Emperor gripped the arms of his throne, knuckles pale. His advisors stood motionless, expressions ranging from fearful to outraged. Prince Naso found his voice first. "Ambassador Murray, there's no need for threats between civilizations. Whatever your reasons, the Kobali Star Empire only wishes to open a dialogue with Earth, to welcome you into the galactic community." Murray cut him off with a sharp laugh. "Welcome us? No, Your Highness, you misunderstand. We're not here to join anyone. Quite the opposite." He turned to the Emperor, eyes hard. "Earth has endured cataclysms your people couldn't fathom. We've paid in blood to survive, to rebuild, and now we simply wish to be left alone." He stepped forward, each stride deliberate. The Kobali guards tensed but didn't dare intervene, not after what they'd just witnessed. Murray stopped at the throne's dais, looking up at the Emperor. When he spoke again, his tone brooked no argument. "No Kobali ship enters our space. No transmission, no probe, no attempt at contact. If you try, we will consider it an act of war." His gaze swept the court. "The same goes for your allies, your enemies, anyone in this godforsaken galaxy. The Sol system is off limits." Neso tried once more, desperation creeping in. "Please, we can find a peaceful solution. If you just explain—" "No," Murray was already turning away. "We're done here. Humanity will be watching, Emperor. Remember that." With that, the human delegation marched from the throne room, leaving a tsunami of confusion and apprehension in their wake. Prince Neso stared at the blackened scar in the pillar, the ambassador's words replaying in his mind. What could have happened to Earth, to the human species, to prompt this? What kind of cataclysm could twist a civilization into such isolationism, such militaristic paranoia? And underneath the fear, a treacherous seed of curiosity took root. The mystery called to him, demanded unraveling. Neso suddenly understood one thing with blinding certainty. Humans had issued their warning. He'd be damned if he heeded it. Prince Neso paced his private chambers, the weight of his decision pressing down on him like the iridium plates of the palace walls. He had witnessed firsthand the terrifying power of human technology, the cold drive in Ambassador Murray's eyes. And yet beneath the fear, a fierce need to understand burned in Neso's gut. He activated his quantum communicator, the device thrumming to life. "Kalara, Zorax, I have a mission for you, one that could change the course of the galaxy." Within a cycle, the two stood before him. Kalara, her violet eyes alight with curiosity, her lithe frame barely containing her eagerness. Zorax, a hulking figure, his battle-scarred face an impassive mask. "You're to take a cloaked ship to the Sol system," Naso said. "Observe the humans, gather intel, but do not engage. We must understand what drives their isolationism." Zorax rumbled, "My lord, the Emperor—" "Leave my father to me," Naso cut in. "Time is short. Go now, and may the stars guide you." As the scout ship slipped from the shadows of the Kobali homeworld, Kalara marveled at the advanced cloaking technology. Zorax guided them through the void, his skills honed by a lifetime exploring the galaxy's uncharted reaches. They emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system, the distant sun a cold pinprick against the black. Long-range scans painted a grim picture. Earth, once a blue-green jewel, now appeared as a sickly gray orb shrouded in ash and debris. Kalara choked back a gasp as the full extent of the planet's devastation became clear. Zorax wove a deft path through the dense debris fields, evidence of past cataclysms that had rent Earth's orbits. They took shelter behind the pock-marked moon, its surface bearing the scars of ancient battles. "I'll lead the surface team," Kalara said, checking her envirosuit seals. Zorax nodded, his eyes never leaving the sensor displays. The cloaked shuttle crossed the ashen Terminator line into Earth's night side. Kalara fought rising horror as the ruins of vast cities scrolled beneath them, crumbled monuments to a lost age. They set down amid the skeletal remains of towering structures, twisted metal reaching skyward like grasping fingers. As the scouts fanned out, sensors probing the poisoned air, Zorax picked his way through the rubble of what had once been a great center of learning. Shattered holographic displays flickered with fragmented data, hinting at the depths of knowledge lost. He retrieved a cracked data core, hoping the ship's quantum computers could reconstruct its secrets. A shout crackled over the comm. "Contact! 2 groups of humans bearing weapons!" Kalara sprinted toward the voice, Zorax close behind. They crouched in the shadows of a toppled stone edifice as the sound of energy weapons rent the leaden air. Peering around the crumbling masonry, Kalara stifled a gasp. The humans were barely recognizable as the species she had studied. Their bodies were a fusion of organic and synthetic, cybernetic enhancements, glinting in the wan light. They moved with a fluid grace, even as they exchanged blasts of searing plasma. One group wore the tattered remains of some form of military uniform, the other clad in makeshift armor of scavenged alloys. The battle was brief but brutal, the military faction driving off their foes with ruthless efficiency. As quickly as it had begun, the skirmish ended, the survivors melting back into the ruins. Zorax tapped Kalara's shoulder. "We must leave. Now!" His tone brooked no argument. As the shuttle lifted off, Kalara fought to process what they had witnessed. The implications were staggering. Somehow, despite the complete collapse of their world, humans had not only endured but evolved. They had transformed themselves, becoming something more than they once were. Back on the ship, Kalara pored over the readings and fragmented data, a picture taking shape. The great cataclysm, the war that had ended the world, had occurred centuries ago. And yet the descendants of the survivors had rebuilt themselves, through technology and grit, into a formidable species. Zorax entered the lab, his face grave. "We must inform the Emperor. The humans are more than they appear. They could pose a threat to the entire galaxy." Kalara hesitated, torn. Part of her agreed the logical choice was to return with their terrifying discovery. And yet, she couldn't shake the feeling that there were deeper truths to uncover, secrets that could reshape the future. "Not yet," she said. "There's more here. I can feel it. We must learn what drove them to this, what they're truly capable of, for all our sakes." Zorax's mind focused, but he did not argue. He knew Kalara's instincts had saved them more times than he could count. As they prepared to venture back to the ravaged surface, an alert lit up the command console. A tight beam transmission from the UEDC. A dire warning. Their intrusion had been detected. The humans were coming. Kalara and Zorax exchanged a loaded glance. There could be no turning back now. The answers they sought, the fate of 2 civilizations, hung in the balance. They steeled themselves for the reckoning to come, knowing the hardest truths were yet to be revealed. Kalara's fingers danced across the shuttle's controls, guiding it silently through the ash-choked atmosphere. Zorax hunched over the sensor array, his eyes darting between readouts. "There," he growled, pointing to a flickering hologram. "Underground structure. Massive power signature." The shuttle touched down amidst the skeletal remains of skyscrapers. Kalara's heart raced as she sealed her envirosuit. This was it, their chance to unravel Earth's mysteries. They picked their way through debris-strewn streets, following the ping of Zorax's scanner. A yawning chasm opened before them, revealing the mouth of an ancient bunker. Zorax grunted in approval as they slipped inside. The air grew thick with stale recycled oxygen. Emergency lighting cast sickly shadows across walls adorned with faded insignia. Kalara traced her fingers over a symbol, a shield emblazoned with UEDC Research Division. "Zorax, look," she whispered, gesturing to a partially collapsed doorway. Beyond lay a cavernous chamber filled with dormant machinery and banks of quantum computers. Zorax's eyes widened. By the Emperor's crown. They moved deeper into the facility, each step revealing technological marvels beyond Kobali understanding. Holographic schematics flickered to life as they passed. Impossibly efficient energy weapons, cybernetic implants that defied biology. Kailara's hands trembled as she interfaced her data core with a central terminal. If we can just download a fraction of this. A klaxon shattered the silence. Red emergency lights bathed the chamber as blast doors slammed shut. Security breach, Zorax bellowed, drawing his sidearm. We need to... The floor beneath them shuddered. Mechanical whirs and clicks echoed through the facility as automated defenses stirred to life. Kailara's mind raced. The schematics. They showed maintenance tunnels. This way. They sprinted through twisting corridors, the sounds of pursuing security drones growing louder. Zorax fired over his shoulder, buying precious seconds. A crackling voice cut through their comms. Attention intruders. This is Commander Stark of the UEDC. Surrender immediately or face termination. Kailara's breath caught in her throat. They'd been detected. Earth's forces were coming. Zorax grabbed her arm, pulling her into a darkened alcove. We're out of options. We need to... Kailara's eyes locked onto a pulsing diagram on a nearby console. The power core, she breathed. If we overload it... Understanding dawned on Zorax's face. He nodded grimly. They raced towards the facility's heart, dodging automated turrets and stealth drones. Kailara's fingers flew across the core's controls, initiating an unstable feedback loop. 2 minutes, she shouted. The bunker shook violently. Alarms blared as the power core's containment began to fail. They sprinted for the exit, lungs burning. A thunderous explosion rocked the complex. Zorax shoved Kailara clear as a support beam came crashing down. She scrambled to her feet, horror rising as she saw Zorax pinned beneath the debris. Go! He roared, blood trickling from a gash in his forehead. Kailara gritted her teeth, straining to lift the beam. Adrenaline surged, and together they managed to free Zorax's mangled leg. She slung his arm over her shoulder, half dragging him toward salvation. They burst from the bunker's mouth as secondary explosions tore through the facility. Kailara's legs burned as she hauled Zorax's considerable bulk towards their hidden shuttle. As the engines roared to life, a new voice crackled over the comm. This is Commander Stark to all units. Alien vessel detected. Shoot to kill. I repeat, shoot to kill. Kailara's hands flew across the controls, guiding the shuttle into a steep climb. Energy bolts sizzled past the viewports as Earth's defenses opened fire. She risked a glance at Zorax, slumped in the co-pilot's chair. His breathing was labored, cybernetic implants in his legs sparking and sputtering. Hold on, she whispered, more to herself than her wounded companion. We're not done yet. As the shuttle broke atmosphere, Kailara's mind raced. The data they'd stolen could reshape the galaxy. But at what cost? And what other secrets lay buried in Earth's ruins, waiting to be unearthed? Uncovered, the shuttle shuddered as it broke free of Earth's atmosphere, narrowly evading the barrage of energy weapons. Kailara's fingers danced across the control panel, initiating evasive maneuvers. Zorax, I need you to... She turned, her words dying in her throat as she saw her companion's condition. Zorax's cybernetic legs sparked violently, his face contorted in pain. Focus on flying, he growled through gritted teeth. I'll manage. As they cleared the planet's gravitational well, Kailara's heart sank. Earth's orbital defenses had mobilized with alarming speed. A swarm of sleek fighters approached, their weapons primed. Launching warning drone, Kailara announced, her voice steady despite the chaos. The small device shot away from their craft, carrying their vital intel and a desperate plea for aid. Commander Stark's voice crackled over their comms once more. Alien vessel, you are outgunned and outnumbered. Surrender now or be destroyed. Kailara's mind raced. Their cloaking device was offline, their weapon systems damaged. She glanced at Zorax, seeing her own dogged willpower mirrored in his eyes. We can't outrun them, she said softly. Zorax nodded, adjusting himself in the co-pilot seat. Then we fight. The shuttle's engines roared as Kailara pushed them to their limits. They weaved through the debris field orbiting Earth, human fighters in hot pursuit. Energy beams lanced past them, uncomfortably close. A klaxon blared. Hull integrity compromised, the ship's AI intoned. Critical systems failure imminent. Kailara's hands flew across the controls, trying to coax more power from the failing engines. A violent explosion rocked the craft, sending it into a wild spin. "We're hit!" Zorax shouted, desperately trying to stabilize their trajectory. The shuttle plummeted back toward Earth's surface, trailing smoke and debris. Kailara fought for control, the ground rushing up to meet them. "Brace for impact!" she yelled, pulling up on the controls with all her strength. The craft slammed into the barren wasteland, skidding across the poisoned Earth. When it finally came to rest, an eerie silence fell over the wreckage. Kailara groaned, pushing aside a tangle of sparking wires. She turned to Zorax, relief flooding her as she saw him stirring. "We're alive!" she breathed, unbuckling her harness. Zorax grunted, assessing the damage to his cybernetic implants. "For now, but we're stranded on a hostile world with dwindling supplies and no way to contact our people." Kailara activated the ship's remaining sensors, her face grim. "Stark's forces are closing in. We need to move." They gathered what supplies they could salvage and emerged from the wreckage. The desolate landscape stretched before them, a testament to humanity's self-inflicted wounds. "Our only chance is to commandeer one of their vessels," Zorax said, his tactical mind already formulating a plan. Kailara nodded, her eyes scanning the horizon. "Then we'd better start moving. We have a long way to go, and Earth's defenders won't be far behind." As they set out across the wasteland, neither could shake the feeling that their actions had set in motion events far beyond their control. The fate of two civilizations now hung in the balance, with the threat of interstellar war looming on the horizon. Millions of kilometers away, in the opulent chambers of the Kobali Imperial Palace, Prince Neso received the warning drone's transmission. His face paled as he absorbed the shocking revelations about Earth's past and the humans' terrifying capabilities. "Father," he said, turning to the Emperor, "we need to convene the council, immediately." The Emperor's eyes narrowed, sensing the gravity of the situation. "What have you done, my son?" Neso took a deep breath, steeling himself for the storm to come. "What was necessary, Father? What was necessary to protect our people, and perhaps the entire galaxy?" The wasteland stretched before Kailara and Zorax, a bleak canvas of destruction. They moved swiftly through the ruins, their eyes scanning for any sign of human activity. As night fell, they crested a hill and spotted their target, a remote UEDC outpost nestled in a valley below. Zorax's cybernetic implants whirred as he analyzed the facility's defenses. 3 guard towers, automated turrets on the perimeter. We'll need to disable their power grid first. Kailara nodded, her mind racing through potential strategies. "Remember those survivor groups we observed? Time to put their guerrilla tactics to use." They waited for the cover of darkness, then began their approach. Zorax moved with uncanny stealth, his scout training evident in every calculated step. Kailara followed close behind, her heart's pounding in her chest. At the edge of the compound, Zorax produced a small device from his pack. "Electromagnetic pulse," he whispered, "should take out their systems temporarily." The device activated with a soft hum. Lights across the outpost flickered and died, plunging the area into darkness. Shouts of confusion erupted from within. "Now," Kailara hissed. They sprinted across the open ground, Zorax's enhanced leg propelling him forward with inhuman speed. They reached the main building just as emergency generators kicked in. Inside, chaos reigned. Human personnel scrambled to respond to the sudden breach. Kailara and Zorax moved efficiently, using non-lethal takedowns to subdue the defenders. "The hangar!" Zorax growled, gesturing down a corridor. They raced through the facility, alarms blaring in their wake. The hangar doors slid open, revealing their prize, a sleek interplanetary shuttle. Kalara's fingers danced across the unfamiliar controls as Zorax secured the entry hatch. The engines roared to life just as the first shots ricocheted off the hull. "We've got company," Zorax shouted. The shuttle lurched skyward, clearing the hangar doors by mere centimeters. Outside, floodlights cut through the night as Commander Stark's forces converged on the outpost. Anti-aircraft batteries opened fire, filling the air with sizzling energy bolts. Kalara's piloting skills were put to the test as she wove through the barrage. "Hang on!" she yelled, pulling the shuttle into a gut-wrenching barrel roll. Zorax manned the underbelly cannons, returning fire with deadly precision. Explosions blossomed across the ground below as he targeted the defensive emplacements. They climbed higher, Earth's atmosphere thinning around them. For a moment, it seemed they might escape unscathed. Then a new threat appeared on their sensors. Commander Stark's flagship loomed above, unleashing a salvo of specialized missiles. "Evasive maneuvers!" Zorax bellowed. Kalara pushed the shuttle to its limits, corkscrewing through space. But the missiles were relentless, homing in on their ion trail. A deafening explosion rocked the craft. The cockpit filled with acrid smoke as systems failed across the board. Through the chaos, Kalara heard Zorax cry out in pain. She turned, horror gripping her as she saw her companion engulfed in flames. Shrapnel had torn through his body, leaving him mortally wounded. "Zorax!" she screamed, reaching for him, even as she fought to keep the shuttle under control. His eyes met hers, a lifetime of friendship and loyalty conveyed in a single glance. "You must complete the mission," he gasped, "for our people, for the galaxy." Zorax's hand found the ejection controls. With his last ounce of strength, he activated the sequence. Kalara's protests were cut short as the cockpit depressurized. Zorax's body was pulled into the void of space, leaving her alone in the crippled shuttle. Grief threatened to overwhelm her, but Kalara forced it down. She had to survive, had to ensure their sacrifice wasn't in vain. The shuttle's engines sputtered as she pushed them beyond their limits. Earth fell away behind her, but freedom remained elusive. On her sensors, she detected a new threat: Kobali warships lying in wait at the edge of the solar system. As Kalara prepared to make the jump to lightspeed, her console erupted in warning lights. Vortok's flagship had opened fire, a precision strike disabling her engines. The shuttle drifted helplessly as the massive Kobali vessel loomed closer. Kalara clutched the data core containing their mission intel, ready to destroy it if capture seemed imminent. A tractor beam latched onto the shuttle, pulling it inexorably towards the Kobali flagship's docking bay. Kalara steeled herself for what was to come, knowing the fate of two civilizations now rested in her hands.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.